Yeah, no
All right, folks,
rush.
welcome to RCL. Thank you guys for joining our DYOR series with our AMAs here. So today we have a project called Bet Your Beans. So we see a lot of projects that have utilities such as staking, rewards. This one's got an interesting one that I definitely want to hear more about because we've seen a lot of kind of gambling type of projects, but none that you really can set your own parameters, which is something I saw that I'm interested in. So how we like to run these guys is we'll hand it over to you. But the most important thing for this lounge is to get to know you as a developer, what your strategy, what your vision is. At the end of the day, like a lot of people can throw, fancy pictures and websites together, but it doesn't really mean much until we get to know somebody and see what their passion is and why they're building this project. So if you keep that in mind around, the reason that we're trying to, get to know you, so we can have confidence in our investment. It'll be a really good AMA. So that being said, I'll hand it over to you if you want to tell us a little bit about yourself, the folks that you have involved in the team, and kind of how this project came about. We'll dive into the questions after that.
Okay, awesome. So hi, I'm Matt. I'm from Vancouver, Canada. I've been in the space for around a year. I've made some money. I've lost a lot of money, but it's been a very interesting journey. About myself, I am 38 years old. I've been working in the film industry for 15 years. I'm screen sharing here, so you can kind of see the stuff that I do. I like to direct my own films. That's always been my dream. That's my passion. This is stuff that I work on. So I've done pretty well over there, creating some short films. We've had Kevin Hart showed us out. I've done a bunch of projects, but my day job is I build movie sets with trees, plants, and everything. And this is me. I'm fully doxed on the website. This is me. That's my beautiful face there. These are some of the projects that I've worked on over the years. We got Ghostbusters, Debris, The Magicians, Warcraft, Altered Carbon, Maze Runners, Star Trek Beyond, the BFG, The Revenant. Like, this is what I do for a living, and I do that so that I can make movies. Luckily, entering the crypto space, I've kind of come to realize, that I can start funding and making my own movies. And I was like, well, how do I do that? I need to build a business. Originally I wanted to do a cryptocurrency about making movies. I was really going to put myself out there. And what I've realized is this space needs more honesty and more transparency. And if we want this space to be validated and respected in the real business world, we have to start treating it as such. We are in a cloak and dagger industry, and I want to change that. And I started thinking, what can I do that's a little bit different that nobody's done, and how can I build a business in this space? And that's where I kind of came up with the idea of Bet Your Beans. Is I was looking to see what is out there, and what's missing. And I was like, well, how come nobody can do peer-to-peer betting on any cryptocurrency? And so that's back in December. I was sitting there talking to a buddy, and I was like, what if we did a platform where you could bet on a cryptocurrency price prediction, specifically targeting your friends, the old man-to-man, college bros, put your money where your mouth is, prove you right, take your friend's money and do it again the next day type of attitude. And so I kind of put it on the back burner for a little bit. After December, I stepped away a little bit until I got involved with Grimace Coin, and I was the project manager over there for a few months. I don't know if anybody was over there, joined any of the community meetings. I started getting team meetings going on. I was like, we got to do this. We have to organize. I started doing community updates every Sunday, having a script so that we were all on the same page and treating things like a proper business. If you'd ever seen, I did 3 episodes of a web series that I directed. They're really short, but just kind of fun in the van of the office, because I was like, let's build, let's actually make a business, and, let's do this properly. But as you know, things change. People's egos get in the way, and things don't always work out. And I end up stepping away from that, and I've taken a bit of a break. And then I was like, you know what? It's time to really follow through with Bet Your Beans and start building a business. So I talked to my friends over at CoinFlect, who are incredibly talented blockchain developers. They're very smart. They've got big deals happening. They're going to be partnering with Certec, I believe. Shit, I don't know if I'm allowed to say that. Well, they're working on it. I hope I'm not in trouble. And they're also Canadian. I'm Canadian. A lot of our team is Canadian. And I was like, how can we build this platform where people come on board? So, now we've hit the ground running. You can go to our website, you can check us out. We are pretty much fully doxed on there. We are who we say we are. We are here to build a proper business and do better business practices. And the things that I was doing over at Grimace Coin revolved around being transparent, being honest, owning up to our mistakes, and really keeping the community involved in what we're doing. Because too many projects just sit there and they just wait, and 2 weeks later there's no updates, and they're like, "No, don't worry, dev is still working." It's like, nah, you guys. So, anyways, that's me. That's myself. That probably went on longer than it needed to. So just tell me to shut up at any point in time, and I'll follow through with that for sure.
No. Absolutely. That's what we want to know. We want to get to know you. So who else do you have on the team? Are you the actual contract deployer and dev, or do you have people that you're working with?
So I'm essentially the developer, but I'm not developing the contract. Um, I'll be very upfront about it. My full-time job in the film industry is dealing with producers and directors. I am a manager. I deal with logistics, all that type of stuff. So in the space here, like I can look at a contract. I could read into a bit if I really wanted to, but that's not my area of expertise. But I'm good with people. I'm good with ideas. I'm good with concepts. Um, 15 years of film experience and doing all that, I think, is something that's missing in this space. Just understanding how real businesses work. So, I don't have to be the smartest guy in the room, but I have to know how to hire people smarter than me, just like a director would. You don't have to understand the costumes. You don't have to understand all the lighting. You don't have to understand all the cinematography, but you got to have enough understanding. Then you have to hire the people who are really good at it. So that's where I got CoinFlect involved to look over my idea and help try and figure it out. And, figure out how much it's going to cost. Is it possible? Can we make this happen? And then I start bringing in everybody else from the team. I've got Sam, who's kind of our head of research and development, who came over from Grimace Coin. He was a member there. And I started talking about, like, man, we need to find our targeted demographic. And he's like, nobody talks about that in this space. That's pretty crazy. And 2 days later, I had a document in front of me about how we need to target China, how we need to target Brazil, what we can do to get into those markets. How do we appeal to the college kids and the betting atmosphere that we want to get into. We have Carmen Crypto, who's just recently come on board from DYOR and Disco Burn Token, a bunch of those projects. She's very well spoken and knowledgeable in the space. And then we have people like P. the Ruler, who's kind of running our design. We're talking to some people about coming on board as to really run our marketing team. Acid is going to be helping out with that. We've had some discussions with Blockchain Brothers, so there's a whole bunch of us that are kind of getting this thing going and off the ground running.
Okay. So at the heart of what you're doing here, is this a betting platform? Is that kind of the goal, so you could bet on anything? Is that really the end game here?
Yeah. Okay, so let me dive into that for a little bit. Question. Oh man, this thing is like, this window is making the side of my head pop out, isn't it? Is it like super? Sorry. Oh, there's my coffee. Well, that went great. Is this all blown out to you guys on the side of my head? It looks super gnarly on my screen. I'm gonna
It's like
fix
a
that.
RoboCop rendition.
Yeah. Okay, hang on. I gotta fix that. That's driving me nuts. As somebody who directs and loves cinematography and lighting, I'm like, we can't have that. That's not good enough. Good thing I had pants on, eh? That would be really awkward. Anyways, much better. So Bet Your Beans is first and foremost, and this is how I'm putting it out there. It's a social betting app or a social experience app. And we are first and foremost that. We are second a cryptocurrency. And what we're doing there is you can bet against any of the top 10 cryptos and also do custom bets as well. And this is what we're going to launch with. So here, let me just run through an example. Is I'm sitting here, I'm talking to Drad, and I'm like, I think Bitcoin's going to hit 100,000 by August next year. He says, you're an idiot. I said, probably, but put your money where your mouth is. Let's put $100 on this. I go to betyourbeans.com or use the mobile app. I connect my wallet. I go to make a username with that. That's always going to be connected to my wallet from that point on. I'm going to go make a private bet so that nobody else can see the bet. And it's going to create a custom URL. Now I can use a QR code. I can share the URL. Draft's going to come, connect his wallet, pick a username if he hasn't done that before. And then we can pick from the top 10 cryptocurrencies right there. We can pick a date and time. We can pick by a market cap or a market cap move. So we can say percentage. I think it's going to go up 50% by that date. Or we can say it's going to be at this by a certain date. There's going to be a built-in chat right there in the application for every single bet that's made specific to that bet. So I'm not having to go back to Telegram. I'm not having to leave the platform. We can still be like, okay, well, when we do 150, okay, cool. We both sign off on that. He locks his, I lock mine. What's going to happen is 5% of that is going to get sent to the BYB development team marketing wallet and back into our staking pool for the holders. The other 95% is going to be using a custom Binance Smart Chain contract, and that's going to get sent over to the Smart Chain. We do not hold that money. We don't control it. That is that own contract created for those two individuals. So that 95% that's being taken from both of them for the pot, we have no control over. That money is totally and completely safe. And that smart contract with our custom API is going to automatically determine whether that statement that they've chosen to bet on is true or false by the time that date rolls around. So from that point on, it's going to automatically validate. It's going to send that money to the winner, and they can claim it whenever that time rolls around. So that's the betting on the cryptocurrency market prediction. We're going to be adding cryptocurrencies as we go along. That's really nice and simple. You can also make it as a public bet. So now you can go to the platform and look at bets that people have made and be like, I'm going to take that guy up on that. I think Ethereum will hit this price by a certain week. The second type of betting that we're going to be adding is bet on anything. So me and Drat can be sitting at a bar. I'm going to be like, Drat, I think that you can't eat this foot-long sub in 30 seconds. Again, you tell me you're really an idiot, and I will probably agree with you, but say, put your money where your mouth is. Let's bet some beans on it. So we're going to open that bet up again. We both connect our wallets. There'll be a text box. I'll say, I don't think he can eat it by this amount of time. He goes, I think I can. I'm going to throw $5 in. He's going to throw $5 in. We sign off on it. 5%, again, goes to BYB. 95% of that pot gets sent to the Binance Smart Chain, gets held over there. And then Drat eats the sandwich in like 4 seconds because he's a hungry pig. So now what we have is we have to validate that bet ourselves. It's not up to the BYB team to validate it because we can't actually confirm those results. So he's going to say that he won. I'm going to say that I lost. It's going to say, okay, yes, this is correct. We're going to give the money over to Drat because he won that bet. We are going to be adding a third-party validator option if you want to connect a third wallet to kind of validate these results. We are not going to be responsible for what happens. So let's say I'm like, nah, screw you. I don't care. I don't want this. Drat could take a baseball bat to my knees if he wants to. We do not encourage that. But generally, you should be trusting the people that you're betting against or know them in person. If they cannot agree on it and they say, screw you, we're not friends anymore, they can also withdraw and they'll get that 95% of the pot that they deposited both sent back to them. So the beauty about the custom bet is that you can say, I think in the third inning in this game, that fifth pitch is going to be like this. Or in this public debate, I think this person is going to be like, do better than this. So it does require a little bit of a connection between the two people for the custom bets to validate them so that the winner can get their, what they want out of it. But that's the way that the general betting platform is going to work. We have plans after we launch. We're going to be building a sports API so we can start adding and automatically propagating it with football matches. So if you think Chelsea is going to win the next game, it's automatically going to pop up as a selectable game. You can pick the score. We'd like to start introducing odds and things like that. And so now people can go, and again, that sports API is automatically going to validate the final score of those with that sports API. So we don't have to do anything, and it's going to be, 100% trustworthy for who's winning what. In regards to the tokenomics of how BYB is going to work is, I think too many projects are forcing you to buy their token and use their token so that their chart looks good and healthy. I will be upfront about this from the very beginning. I don't give a fuck what my chart's doing. Obviously, the chart going up would be great. We want to see that business, the market cap go up, and it shows a successful business. but we are not relying on the chart to define whether we are successful at what we're doing. And here's why. So BYB is used for two things. BYB is going to be used for staking. So you can earn a portion of every buy and sell on the chart, and you earn a portion of every bet that's placed. BYB is also going to be used for our gamified social elements. So what I mean by that is that we're going to be launching with something called the Bean Score system. Think of it like the Xbox Gamer Score. So every time you win a bet, you're going to get a little bit of Bean Score. And you're going to see this and track this on the leaderboards. Every time you lose, you'll get a tiny amount. Let's say you win 5 bets in a row, you're going to get a lot. We're going to be introducing things like unlockable avatars. You know, you win a bunch, you get some bragging rights, you're going to get an avatar. Maybe you'll get a nameplate like you would have in Skyrim, like Master of the BTC Bets. You know, you're going to have all these bragging rights and kind of disses. So you're going to be unlocking GameFi elements as you use the platform repeatedly that people will be able to view on your social profile. So we're going to use BYB to actually purchase these things that you unlock. We're not, you know, you'll earn the right to have them and then you spend some BYB. But that is the BYB ecosystem over there on that side. You do not need BYB to place a bet, and we are not rewarding our stakers in BYB. And the reason for this is why complicate it to take a small percentage of people who want to use our platform? You know, why make them go buy our chart? Why make people even watch our chart? Because at the end of the day, if you believe in the platform and what you're doing, all you have to do is stake your BYB and get people to use the platform. I don't have to get my grandma or my friends or anybody to go buy SafeMoon or any dumb shit like that. I don't have to introduce people to my chart and have them understand the token. I just need to send this over to Drat, say, hey, check this out. If you like it, use it. Drat becomes a user. He makes 5 bets a week. You know, a portion of that 5% from everybody makes goes back to our holders. So that's why when you come and you place a bet on our platform, we're using BNB and we're using Crow off the top that you can place a bet on. We're going to be able to easily add things like Ethereum 2.0 and more currencies for people to connect their wallets to and use that dApp. So we want to make this as easy as possible. We want you to be able to come in and under 1 minute, place a bet. We take our small portion of that for providing the surface and the GameFi elements, and then away you go. And you're going to be getting your reward back in whatever you use to place your bet in. And if you're a staked holder, you're going to be getting your portion of the staking pool sent to you in BNB as compared to BYB. So that way you've got BNB in your wallet now as a passive holder. And if you want more BYB and you want to stake it, you can go buy and that's going to be healthy for a chart. But at the end of the day, you know what? Let's say we only have $1,000 in liquidity, but we have 1,000 transactions coming through every day, right? That's the value of that liquidity does not matter very much to us. But 1,000 transactions that we're taking 2 or 3% or whatever we finally decide on to go to keep that staking pool APY high for passive income. That's where really at the end of the day, we just need to sell the experience, we need to sell the platform, and we need to build something that people are going to be coming back for. Was that a long enough description? I think I
No,
got a lot of
that was perfect. You're going to make my job easy because you've brought a really cool utility here, and I got a lot of questions on it. Do you want to hit on the NFTs before I start my questions because it might tie into some of those questions? I'd like to know kind of what they'll be used for. I understand you're trying to use them maybe as portion to raise the funds versus just sell them on the market. So if you could hit on that, then I'll be able to jump into my questions. But I don't want to jump.
Okay. Yeah, 100%. So, the NFTs are being used to raise money for marketing for our pre-sale. And on that note, we're looking for $250,000 to $500,000 for pre-sale because this is not a cheap application to use. You can hear there's many layers to it. So I decided to start building some NFTs that we could use to raise that money. Of course, that cost me a lot of money as well out of my own wallet, but that's fine. You got to invest in yourself. So what we've done is what can we do that's a little different and unique in the space? Too many private sailors dump. You see it time and time again. You're like, oh, they're vested, they're my friends, and then they dump, and everyone gets upset, and then everybody sells on your chart. We don't want that to happen. What we want to do with a private sale is we want to find investors who really believe in the project, believe in the team and what we're doing, and believe in the utility that we can offer. So what we've done is unique in the space. We haven't seen anything like this. Is we're pegging tokens to our NFTs. And so what you'll do, and this is news as well, is we've actually doubled the amount of NFTs and cut the price in half as of this morning. They're not for sale yet. They were going to be launching tomorrow, but we're actually going to push it a week so that we can do the testing, change the contract, and make sure that we get as good an audience as possible. But so what you're going to do is you'll go drop half a BNB for one of these NFTs. They're very nice. I'll share it in a sec. And what that is going to do is it's going to give you anywhere from 115 to 160% above pre-sale value of tokens pegged to that NFT. So let's say they were a 1 BNB NFT, you'd be getting 1.15 BNB worth to 1.6 BNB worth of tokens for the 1 BNB NFT. And what's interesting about this is that you can never take those tokens off that NFT, but you can stake that NFT. So our private investors are people who I understand that passive income is a big part of this platform. I think that we're going to do something good. I'm going to buy one of these NFTs. I'm going to stake and just have that money coming into my wallet. What's interesting about the pegged NFTs is none of our private buyers really can sell on our chart. But what's going to happen is, let's say we become a $10 million market cap company in 6 months, or 100 million in a year or two as we build this business. The value of those NFTs with those tokens pegged to them are going to go up with the value of the chart. So you're not having to convince people to buy these NFTs because they look good or anything else. People will be able to look and be like, wow, you've got that many tokens at better than pre-sale rate tied to this. You're going to move on, you're getting out of crypto. I'll pay you for that, pretty close to market value of what the NFTs would, of what the tokens would cost at that time. So the NFTs are going to scale up and down with our market cap due to the value of the tokens that are in them for staking. Yeah, we think it's pretty cool because nobody's done anything like that before. And we're trying to innovate. We're trying to find things that people haven't done to bring value to our holders. And if you buy one of the NFTs, you're automatically going to get a whitelist for the pre-sale. Pre-sale is going to have a tier 2 whitelist. That'll be the traditional referral, get people involved, bring them over type of thing. And then, of course, we'll be opening it up to the public as well for our pre-sale. But yeah, that's the NFTs. And here, I'll show you guys what they look like right now.
Okay, so while you do that, just to simplify it, if I buy the NFTs, I'll get a certain amount of tokens that are pegged to that, in which I will receive rewards, but I'll never be able to sell those tokens because they're actually tied to the NFT. So it is a residual income, it's passive income, but you can't ever worry about me selling on the chart. I can only earn from there. Is that
Exactly. Okay. And I mean, look, if you come in and you buy one of these for half a BNB, and we know that we're gonna do very well with this project. Our long-term scalability is massive, moving beyond sports and into more custom bets, building up a bunch of media, and honoring our players who are doing really well. We've got an entire social platform that we're essentially building with this thing, which is to be the best platform I'll dive into. You're going to pay that NFT off. That's kind of the beauty about it. And then from that point on, you're just earning that income, right? So yeah, that's the long and short for sure. You nailed it. But this is what they look like. We wanted to do something that wasn't just a basic image. We wanted to add a little bit of pizzazz, something you can look in your wallet and be like, damn, okay, that's actually really nice looking.
Yeah, no, it is nice. It's slick. People will like having that one in their wallet. So is there any concern about, whales buying loads of NFTs and taking a majority of it? I know they can't sell on the chart, but they could make it to where people that just buy one NFT, are getting such a small amount, they're not seeing the value of it. Is there a limit on the NFT buy with a single wallet?
Oh no, go to town with it. Yeah, but buy as many as you want, especially because you might buy one and you might get like the one NFT that gives you like 115% above pre-sale. You might be like, well, I want one that's like 140 or 160. Try and get one of the rare diamond ones, right? So you can buy as many as you want. I did have a friend of mine be like, yo, I'm just going to buy the NFTs. And I was like, nah, don't straight just do that either, because at the same time, we're here to make money. We expect people to buy and sell on our chart. It's the way it is. And I told him, don't put it all into the NFTs. Do make sure that you buy some tokens at the beginning. So something comes up in your life, your family has an emergency, you need some quick cash, of course, we expect people to sell for things that pop up in their life, or to try and make money off of it. So I told him, like, don't put it all into NFTs. Make sure you do buy some tokens as you go as well. But yeah, buy away. And currently, yeah, we're looking at 400 of them. at 0.5 BNB, and that should get us roughly around $60,000 to actually start building the app now and not waiting for a pre-sale to fund the app development. That'll give us a shit ton for marketing to really start pushing this out, and it'll let us also start building up some of the other elements of the platform, so we're not having to wait for pre-sale for that as well.
Okay, so the tough question is, if I'm buying the NFTs, say next week, how long till I could see a return? Meaning, when will the project launch in order for me to start making that passive income? Are we talking weeks, months, 6 months?
So here's what we're gonna do is we want to launch our pre-sale anywhere from, I mean, let's say our NFTs go bangers and we sell them out. I'd like to launch, a week or two after that. If it takes a little bit more time, then we'd be looking probably up to a month after our NFT private sale. And that's going to be I believe we're doing pink sale is what we're talking about. I think that we'll be able to raise that money, hopefully in not too long a time, and then we're going to launch the token. So we're going to have the staking platform set up so you can stake these things before the token ever launches. And when we go public, you're earning passive income just from people swing trading on the first day or whatever they want to do, right? So there's going to probably be a lot of volume coming through, I think, for the first couple of days. We are a long-term project. Our app is not going to be ready on the day that we launch. We're looking at, I'd say from the time that we do our NFT private sale, probably 3 months for the version 1 of our app, because this is not a cheap app. There's a lot of contracts. There's a ton of testnet work to be done. We have to build the UI UX. This is not a, hey, I got guys who can build this in a week type of thing. There's a lot of security that has to be taken care of. And the CoinFlex guys, like, if they were on here, they could come in and speak a little bit about that stuff. But it's a bit of money for this. This is a serious piece of software. So yeah, we're looking at 3 months before the app releases, and that's why, like, we're going to be upfront. We're going to be transparent. You're going to see us all the time. We're going to launch our token, and then we're just going to keep building community. And people are going to get out. They're going to make their money, and then we're going to start bringing in people who can see the value of what we're doing, see how we're communicating, see that we're building an actual business. And then by the time we launch, everybody that's in there is going to be stoked for what we're doing and just start using that platform.
Okay, and the rewards for the NFTs, is that paid in BYB, or is that BNB or BUSD?
It's going to be in BNB. Here's the thing: is if I reward it in BYB, and people want BNB or anything else, they're gonna be selling all the rewards that we're giving them. Where I'd rather just give it to you in BNB, and then if you want, you can buy BYB, and that's also going to look positive on our chart, versus rewarding you in BYB and then you selling, which doesn't look great on my chart.
That's the answer I wanted to hear. So I'm glad you did that, because that's my only problem with looking at some of these high earning, passive income, quote unquote, projects, is that they just can't sustain the sales from what they're giving people in rewards of the native token. So the fact you're doing that, I think, removes some of that sell pressure, but allows someone to just set it and forget it, to be honest, and just roll in, keep rolling it in as the platform takes off. So I like that. So let's get back to the core of the actual business with the betting. So my first question is, do you plan to almost give a free version, where people are not actually betting money to try it? Because I feel like adoption is going to be key here, and people will want to place some wagers, call it friendly or not, just to see how it works. Is that anything that you have in the works, or is it straight, you got to put your beans up right away?
It's something that we kind of brought up that we're going to talk about in our next team meeting. Just in the last week, someone was like, hey, it'd be really great if we could try this out before you start throwing money into it. And I was like, yeah, that's actually a really good idea. So I don't see why we couldn't have something like that lined up. We're going to be doing testnet testing ahead of time, so already we'll be able to test it. But if I can line something up that the user can come on board and try the platform to see how it works ahead of time, 100% we'd like to do that. Especially when we start getting like some of the other stuff, like the sports betting and the things that we can't really talk about now, because they will get ripped off and stolen from us. But our long term, we want to have these options so people can see how the platform works, yes, before they start putting money into it. But again, at the end of the day, like, if you want to come in and you want to place a 10 cents bet against a buddy to try and see how the platform works, that you can do that. It's not like we have a minimum amount of anything going on here. So not at this point in time.
I mean, here's the thing, like for example, me and my idiot friends, we bet, we do DraftKings. We also bet on the side, over a series, but they don't crypto. Something like this is could be a way to help get them to adopt it, but they don't know what a bean is right now. They'd have no idea
Yeah.
where to. I'm sure you could create some way to buy directly from your app, which hopefully you'll be able to do someday. But, to get people engaged, and bring in a new market, I think it would be a clever way to allow some people to explore or test it out before, I try to
Hun-
explain to everybody what Bean is.
Yeah, 100%. So yeah, I think it's something that I think we can do. Even if we're just giving them like some sort of fake credit inside the apps, they can make a couple bets. But I mean, like, so let me hop into that for a little bit because our long-term plans for this, we are focusing on the peer-to-peer. We are not trying to compete with sports books or anything else like that. We know our target audience, and there's not a whole lot like this out there in the space or outside the space. So part of what we're doing is we're really going to be building our brand up. One of my partners, Sam here, he came up with this idea after I had the name, and it was like, what about Jack and the Beanstalk as our mascot? And I was like, well, that's beautiful. You've got the story of the guy who sold everything he had for a bunch of golden beans, went up into the clouds, found golden eggs, had this great adventure, and changed his life. So branding wise, we are moving forward with this funny Ryan Reynolds type character who's going to be popping up in videos. The two Chad bros playing in a bar who are like, oh man, like, I'll bet you can't stick the hip. Well, I got no money on me. He's like, out of nowhere, this fella pops up in the costume and goes, oh, you want to bet your beans, do ya? And we can build this whole funny, entertaining, viral video brand that we want to push out there into the real world. We are not just going to be targeting crypto users. One of our long-term goals would be to get a fiat on-ramp into this system. So now you can have people come and use the application, and all they have to do is, connect their credit card. We'd like to make some sort of in-house wallet, ideally, that would be right there built into the app, that is safe and secure. And they can come in, use a credit card, and play the system without even thinking about the blockchain or anything like that. And that's where we have, that's where I think a lot of our potential growth is going to come from, is when we move outside the crypto space and target real users with a fun, gamified platform that they can just use all the time. And they can also kind of reap the rewards of it, with seeing the bragging rights, being able to compare themselves to their friends and that type of stuff. So yes, we definitely want to move outside the crypto space. And we know that our branding and marketing is going to be a huge part of getting out there into the real world.
So when it comes to gambling like this, I mean, does it change the laws and regulation? And adamantly, I don't know the laws well enough. Does it change it when it's peer to peer versus like betting against the house or against an organization? Does that give you some more legal loopholes, so to speak, in different countries and locations? To make this more accessible and I would say more on the up and up versus kind of like a black market betting house.
So yeah, it does give us a little bit more freedom here off the top for sure. Um, one of the things is, because we are not taking the money and we're not holding the pot. First off, we don't actually need a banking license because we're not taking everybody's money and holding it, and that would legally change kind of everything we're doing here. In regards to the gambling aspect, we are prepared and ready when the time is right to fully scale this upwards to being a fully registered and legitimate business. And luckily, so RJ and Benny with CoinFlect, they've gone through this process already up here in Canada, where they've registered the business in Canada, they've registered the business down in the Cayman Islands, they have the board of directors, and they understand how to protect themselves by having a company that is part of another company, and legally everything is all covered in that way. So we're going to be able to actually register this as a company in a country where gambling is allowed, and make sure that nobody's going to be like, we're not going to be liable for anything in related to that sort of gambling element. They have a really good crypto lawyer who's going to be diving into all this as we go. But we're not at that point yet where we're too worried about it. But the peer-to-peer does give us a lot more options, because you're not betting against us and we're not holding your money. We're literally providing a service. A service. You guys go, you butt heads about it. We say, hey, I want $5 from each of you. There you go. We're gonna hold on. Okay, there you go. Here's your money at the end of the day. Put it in the pot right here in front of us. I don't want to touch it. Right. So yes, it does protect us quite a lot, but we are prepared as we scale upwards and build a lot of the things, again, some of the stuff that we can't talk about we're prepared to fully register, follow whatever gambling regulations are required for that country, and making sure that we have the legal team that is making sure that, we're not going to get in trouble.
Absolutely. So will it be solely peer-to-peer, like one-to-one, or will you be able to set up contests for multiple people or groups?
We would like to set up in the future things that are going to work for multiple people in groups. But again, like, we can't really go open one big bet and have a bunch of people join at this point in time right now. But it's something that I think our V2 or V3 of this would have in it, so that we can start doing larger sports bets. I mean, so here's kind of the longer term of this project. It's not going to be available at launch, but the Bean Score is going to be around. But the GameFi stuff is going to come out in the Be the Best platform. We want to start developing that sooner rather than later. And this is where our platform turns into a social media element, where you say, okay, yeah, I'm going to opt in to Be the Best platform. So now what happens is the historical API that we're tracking is going to go look at every bet you've made across what games, what tokens, whatever it is that we've got on the platform. And it's going to say, okay, you've played against Strat 3 times and you've won 2 out of those 3. You've played against this person. You are the best in this category. And what's going to happen there is you're going to be able to see who you're really good against and see who you're really bad against across whatever it is we're hosting. And now you're going to be able to add friends. You're going to be able to add rivals, people that you really want to take down, and you're going to be able to private message each other these game invites. So that's kind of the start of the Be the Best platform, along with the tracking of all of this. And I think that's where we're really going to start to see the competitive edge come out, because you're going to be able to go and be like, yo, this guy's the best bettor in the football space. I'm actually going to go challenge him to a bet on the next team. And I'm going to, I'm going to put $500 down. He can put $100 down, but I want to show that I beat this guy in a bet and build my social ranking. Right. So that's a very large part of it. And then as we're doing this, we're going to start trying to form communities somehow on here, where you'll be able to come and you're like, yo, we're Chelsea football fans, let's come into here, and maybe I can make a group bet on everyone and you guys can take me up on it. Again, those are longer term things. We've got to get the main platform done, the contracts done, the basic betting, and then start scaling upward and seeing how feasible all of this stuff is going to be in the long term, and how much money and work that's going to take. But yes, we definitely would like to get some group bets going on for sure.
Yeah, I think the social or the chat option is something that I would try to pull forward, because nothing gets people betting versus with shit talking. I mean, that's the best way to get people to put their money where their mouth is. Leave it in your kind of description. Yeah. So I think that would be a good one. Now, the one thing you hit on a little bit, I want to dive into a little bit more, is the one aspect of playing against strangers. So I feel like if I'm throwing something out there and just a stranger takes it, he doesn't give a shit if he doesn't settle up with me or disputes it. So I think, the angle that you're going with some sort of rating or score, around, how well people performed, have they been dishonest? If they fall on a list, I want to accept a bet from a stranger if I see that they they never square up, or, they dispute it all the time. So I think if you could build something like with that, to give people ratings or something, I think, one, people will take pride in it. But two, like, it'll help weed out some of the ones that could kind of tarnish the brand early on.
100%. And that's going to be a big part of it. I mean, it's like when you go, good old eBay back in the day, you'd be like, that seller's only got 5 sales. What's the record like? Are people liking what they're doing? Is there bad reviews? And you start to look at that. Whereas you go to the platform and you look and, hey, this guy's got 1,300 sales and he's a 4 to 5. You're going to assume that generally most of the time it's good. You're not going to appease everybody out there on eBay when you're selling stuff. But yeah, that's going to kind of keep people honest and transparent. And look, if some guy's new to the platform and he's got 2 trades and they're both good and they're for $5, and that guy wants to go through $1,000 bet down against you, you do run that risk. And this is a custom bet only. This is not a crypto bet or a sports bet. This is a bet that you guys have to be responsible to validate, just to make that clear. You run that risk of that guy not paying out at the end of the day. You're not going to lose anything at the end of the day besides the 5% that you've, put in back into the platform for the service and everything else. But yeah, we're hoping that that's going to keep people honest and transparent. Yeah, it's going to be a pretty complex system when it's all said and done. But we understand how important bragging rights are and being able to show people that you're the best at something out here, and to be able to challenge people that are better than you, and try and move yourself up on the leaderboards a little bit. So
I've heard you use the word platform several times. So, in your mind, would you foresee being a platform for other projects to use as well if they wanted to incorporate betting with their token, for their own community? Because I mean, it's starting to almost feel like there could be like I don't want to say a launch pad, but almost like a staking platform aspect of it, that others, could come to you and say, hey, I just started Ruse Crypto Coin, and we want to use your platform to use it for rewards and betting. So, is that something you've considered, or is it you want to stream everything through your token?
so I mean, we'd have to try and figure out how that would work exactly for them to like use this. I mean, my idea for partnerships originally was like, look, Squid Grow's popped off. It's really nice. They're doing good work over there. My idea would be like, hey, do you mind if we put Squid Grow on here? And, we're not going to ask for anything, but maybe you can just say, hey, guess what? You can now bet and do some price prediction on our chart over on Bet Your Beans. We're going to get people looking into Squid Grow. We'll provide the links to go check their platform and stuff out. And they're going to send people over here to kind of check our platform out. That's kind of how we see the partnership route going. That's relatively simple off the top, but I think the world is our oyster with this as we scale and expand. And I'm very curious to see what other ideas we can bring to the table that are going to kind of change our relationships with new tokens that might want to be on board in some sort of way.
Got it. And I'll ask the uncomfortable question now. Because I'm interested, if I buy NFTs, but you don't sell enough or you don't raise enough to develop, what am I to do then? Because I have no path to return or to get my money back. Because the only thing good about pre-sales that don't hit the soft cap is I can take my money back. But here I've already bought an NFT, and if you don't launch, I don't have a way for passive income. And again, I'm not accusing or saying that this will happen. I'm just, as a curious and an investor, I want folks to know if they buy NFTs and for some reason it doesn't take off the ground, what happens then?
It's a very valid question. Very great question, actually. So I mean, I guess what would happen then is like, we're going to be taking a lot of that money from the beginning and using that to market our pre-sale. I'm pretty confident that we'll hit our soft cap, no problem. If let's say we don't hit our soft cap, we will be able to relaunch our pink sale and at least be able to raise enough money. I know that we can do that to develop the app. That's not a concern of mine at all. I mean, the app is it's a lot of money, but getting that app out is first and foremost it. Anything else above the cost of developing that app is just going to be more money for marketing and more money to actually start developing for the utilities sooner and bringing that stuff to the table. If we, it's what we're gonna hit our soft cap. It's a very good question. At the end of the day, you're gonna have a very nice NFT. Above
I was just
all
going to say
else.
that, like,
So
I've spent money on much shittier NFTs that are of no value now that have done nothing. These look good. It is something I could foresee people sharing. It probably, has a going viral aspect of it as well, just because Beans is such a common name in the space. And, I think Twitter will take liking to these as well. So I don't think it's going to happen. I was just curious because they're, that's why Pinksale and others have put those precautions in to ensure they hit soft caps, because there is some sort of confidence. But nevertheless, I think you guys will be fine. But it's commendable that you're already.
It's a really good question, man. And I mean, like, look, let's say worst case scenario, we always fair launch this bitch and away we go, and then you're still going to be getting the passive income from everybody who's buying it at that. But yeah, we're confident that we're going to get what we need to out of this as we continue to like build our community and put ourselves out there, and people see like, oh shit, these guys are for real and they have a plan and they've done the research and homework. So hope you gotta buy a few now. Pressure's on you, Drat.
So why did you decide to partner with Pinksale? So there's been some negative sentiment going around
yes.
Pinksale. And if you are selling NFTs and minting and collecting funds that way, have you thought about just going the old school method? Like you're doxed your own video, like just collecting the, the beans and sending tokens. Like, I don't even think you need them. So I'm just curious why you've gone with Pinksale. And if, now that you are, do you plan on buying, your supply back from them?
So like we've looked at Gempad, we've looked at Pinksale. We haven't officially signed anything with either of them. What it came down to for us is getting the most amount of eyes on this project as possible and making sure that we 100% raise enough money to get everything we need for the V1 version of the app developed, and hopefully enough to start building the other utilities like the Be the Best platform. That's the social media side, and the historical API to really start tracking people in the sports API. We don't want to be doing 3 to 6 months for little things to be coming down the line. So the more money that we get up front, the more we can actually just start snowballing these things into effect, and then really come out with our secret weapon that I can't talk about yet. But we know that's where we're gonna, I think, really start to see explosive growth. So at the end of the day, I know about the drama with Pink Sale, but at the end of the day, we want to raise that money, and Pink Sale still has the highest volume. They still have the most eyes on it. And if you get trending in there, you're pretty good to go. And it's still amazing what shit projects get on there that raise a crap ton of money, or simply just doing what other people have done before. So, I mean, I had a conversation with them about it. I was like, here's my pitch. Here's what I want to do. They were like, this is very interesting. Nobody's like, again, we've never heard of any utility like this. You guys seem to have a plan and how it's going to work. And I was like, yes. And I was like, so I'm looking at how can we do this properly. I was like, I'm going to want as much marketing help as I can get. Like we're on your platform, and we're not just paying for KYC and badges and all that shit and then going to rug the project, because you can see us. You can find me in Vancouver if you want. Like we're out there. So I'm hoping and praying that they're going to be working with us a little more tightly than they would a lot of the other projects, knowing that we might bring some value to their brand that might have been lost also recently due to the negative press.
Okay. And I think I heard you say it's going to be available with Crow as well. Did you say that?
Yeah, so well, we're going to be taking BNB and Crow payments off the top. Our token is on the Binance Smart Chain, but because our app doesn't do much interaction besides bridging part of that 5% back over to the dev wallets and everything else. The other 95% of your pot is going to be sent off into a pot and then sent back to you. So it's pretty easy for us to build apps to bring like Ethereum 2.0, you know what I mean, and do all that type of stuff at the end of the day. So yeah, we're just going to start adding other cryptocurrencies or things that are going off and new chains that we think are accessible. I mean, obviously, it's it's scalable, and we're going to have a bit of money to be programming the version of that DApp to tie into the other changes as we go along. But we want to open this up to as many people as possible. So there's definitely a lot of room for expansion on that side.
And so you said early on you'll have kind of almost like the options betting. So where is it the bet's going to be settled? Like using which? Is it like pulling data from like CoinMarketCap or Binance? Like where's it going to kind of look for those final outputs or those the numbers of where tokens are sitting? Early days.
I can't speak on that end. That's something that RJ and Vinny are going to be working on, is like, where is the best way and the most, I'd say the most accurate platform that they can tie into, and which these platforms are, have that information easily accessible for them to access and track. I mean, if Telegram bots can do it, we can do it. But it's going to come down to, I think, the accuracy and the speed of those calls. Because like if it goes up and it just touches something, is it going to be fast enough for the Oracle to do it? Or the custom API? How often is the custom API looking and refreshing this stuff? You know what I mean? Those are all like, there's definitely some figuring out to be done on the contract side of all that. We know that it can be done. It's just, this is where the 3-month development window is going to be like really locking that down for the best and most efficient way to do it, as well as keeping our gas fees and everything down.
Okay. And then one of the things I read is the rewards are starting in BNB, and it could change to BUSD or whatever. What are some of the reasonings, or what's going to be the thought process around should you change the rewards? Is it like a community feedback? What's going to help you guys decide how you're going to reward holders?
Like originally I wanted to do BNB and BUSD. I thought that would be really nice. But it's just easier to do BNB off the top, keep that contract simple for now. And then, we can work on that contract down the line and add BUSD, or, and whatever the community wants at some point. I mean, I like the idea of BUSD because, if you don't use BUSD a lot, it just kind of goes over, and, you'll be able to come onto the staking platform, you'll be able to claim it and it goes into your wallet. I like the passive income stuff where it's in a token I'm not really paying a lot of attention to, because you turn around and you're like, oh, damn, look at this. And you just keep stacking it up. Whereas BNB, some places you're getting like 0.03 a day and you don't really notice that type of income coming in. So I would like to add other things down the line for sure, and we're obviously open to suggestions from the community. We are going to be very community driven. We're going to be letting the community test our products as we go, and before we release them, we're going to want feedback on everything that we're doing, and we're going to be trying to be as transparent and show as much as possible of what we're doing as we move along. So we want feedback, and that's where community is going to be so important for this project.
Perfect. So last one for me. So where will I go buy these NFTs? You said, is it tomorrow or did you push it out a week?
So what we've done is we've pushed it a week. We've doubled the amount of NFTs. We're pushing it a week so they've got time to go do, change the contract, double check the amount of tokens that now we're now pegging to them, and do a bunch of testnet testing with them as well to make sure everything's on the up and up. But we will have it minting on our website. It'll just be a subdomain. I think it's like nft.betyourbeans.com. It's our own minting platform, and yeah, it's pretty nice looking. So.
Okay. Is it 3 of them, or will they all be unique?
There's the 4 different types.
4 different types.
And yeah, 4 different types. And here, I'll show it on my screen again here. And there's just enough of a difference between them. So you can see the bronze here, right?
Yep.
Bronze has the bronze plate. Then you've got the silver. We get a little bit of a camera angle change. It's a little nicer. Silver plate down there. You get into the gold. Now it's got a bit of a glow going on. Nice gold plate. A little bit more reflection coming off the glass. Then you get into the diamond, and now you've got like the diamond plate down here, and more lens flare and stuff going on. So it should be fairly obvious when you look at it which one you've unlocked as well. And yeah, it's very, very proud of them. I was nitpicking to get them the way I wanted for sure.
Yeah, they're definitely cool. I like them. So very cool. I mean, you've answered my questions. Before I open it up to the community, is there anything that you want to get out to the
There, and then I
team
was
here,
like,
that we haven't spoken about or I haven't asked questions about? I don't want to just assume that I've asked everything that you want to cover. Is there anything else that we didn't cover?
nothing. No, like I think we've gone over most of it. You've done a great job, and all I can say is, like, come on, join our community. Again, this is long term. You're going to be with us for a few months until we get the V1 out, and then at that point, it's we build the army. We find new partnerships. We do real world marketing. You start getting people to use the app, and we show that there's nothing else like this in the space, and that we're here to innovate. And I think we're going to have a hell of a strong community. We're going to have a lot of passionate people, and I think people are going to be checking us out to be like, how the hell did you guys do this? Innovation is key in this space, and there's too many degens, there's too many pump and dumps. So, if you want to come along and try something new and different, we'd love to have you guys come out. And I really appreciate you guys taking the time to let us speak and show our project as well.
No, this is cool. You've done well. I mean, you could tell your passion behind this. You laid things out. It made my job easy to ask questions because I was curious. I mean, there's a lot of AMAs where I'm struggling to ask questions because I'm get bored halfway through, but this was engaging, and I really like what you've done here. And you're very open, about what you need to get to that next stage and where the timeline is. You're not saying I'm going to have this done tomorrow. And I think you've come up with a clever way to raise funds and set those expectations up front. So I like that idea. I mean, like I said before, I've bought loads of NFTs that, they're ugly. They've never gone up in value, but these are cool looking. So if you make money with them, then that's a bonus. So
oh yeah,
way to be clever on that. I like that.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
All right. Anybody from the community, any admins have any questions?
It's funny. I've done a couple of AMAs on other projects I helped out on too, and I generally they're like, you do all the talking, and then we do the talking, and then people are like, we don't know what to ask anymore. Like you've covered a lot of it.
Yeah, but I'll get DMs inevitably afterwards asking, could you ask this question? Well, it's over. go
Yeah,
to their
yeah, yeah,
community and
yeah,
ask.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
I
Is
just
the sorry, God, Brahma.
I just want to say there is one thing that's pretty commendable. A lot of these projects come to us and they have to raise private sale funds to even start any promo, whether it's with us or anybody else. And Matthew actually is doing a lot of this out of his own pocket. So I thought that was pretty admirable. It's especially like one of those things that we look for is like, if you're not going to invest in yourself, why would we invest in you? So I thought that was a definite plus.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, it's like, I like directing. I've put $100,000 into my short films because, again, like everybody wants people to pay them to do stuff, or they want film grants, and then they sit there for years later and they haven't made a movie. And I'm like, well, this is what I want to do, so I'm gonna raise the money myself and work, bust my ass in the film industry, and I'm gonna go do this stuff. And this is kind of the way I see this. So, I've got around $15,000 of my money in this to build the contracts, build the mint DApp, and everything else related to it. Because the second we decided to do the NFT DApp, and build this entire infrastructure ourselves, now we're actually building stuff that also is going to be used in the main project itself. So yeah, you start finding the money and you work hard and you start putting it in. And you know we're not here to ask for handouts. We're looking for investors. So thank you for pointing that out, because I don't even think to talk about stuff like that.
Also, coincidentally, there was a gentleman that was in our lounge yesterday, and he was insistent. He was like, "Who wants to bet something? I'm in the mood to bet." So I think it's pretty, like, I don't know if it's coincidental or I don't know, but or he was just slightly shilling to see if anyone knew about your project. But it was kind of funny because I saw him in another lounge too, and he was doing the same thing. Like, I'm ready to bet. I'm like, it was, I don't know. Timing is great. So maybe you guys need to be introduced to each other.
Right?
Maybe
Who
it's
who
the
is it?
season.
Who is it?
I need
Yeah,
to,
like
I need to go back through the log, but it was pretty interesting. Yeah, so I'll send it over to you once I find it.
that's funny, because yeah, like we're not sending a buddy out to soft shell or nothing like that. We're just like we're just trying to grow at this point, grow a community and everything. So that's pretty funny.
Very cool. Well, this was a great AMA. I really appreciate you coming in. I think there's a lot of opportunity with this project, not just limited to, some peer-to-peer bettings. I think, one thing I'm always looking for is, can this be adapted into the real world and bring new money into crypto? That's what I'm always looking for, because I feel like, I don't want to say it's saturated, but the people that have been in crypto have been in it for a little while now, and we need fresh money flowing in here. And anything that can do that, I think, is something that interests me. And if I can send this to my friends that have never used crypto before and have a conversation around what is a bean, because they're sports degenerates and they want to bet on a game with me, then
Yeah.
that's cool. So I really like it. I'm good with investing and waiting for returns over a longer period of time. So this kind of fits the mark for me. So I appreciate you coming in. Well done. And if anybody has any further questions, hop over to their lounge, say hi, and it looks like they have an active community, so you should be welcomed.
100%. Thank you for having us, man. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Good luck. We'll speak soon.
All right, folks. Cheers. Bye.